Hi, I'm John Hainlin. We're going to talk today about a Cortes, a Tesoro Cortes. This actually is the top of the line machine that Tesoro makes, and it's a fantastic machine. Even though they say this is a coin machine, it will get nuggets the size of a match head or bigger down to about 3 or 4 inches. So it's a good gold machine as well. But it's an excellent coin machine and jewelry finder. It'll find gold real well. Gold rings, gold earrings. It's a great machine. Even though this Cortes is the top of the line, anybody can use it. Even a first-time user can use it. If you set it up the way the book tells you, you just go out and hunt. You just turn it on. It has automatic ground balance, and you go hunt. First, we're going to cover all the knobs and what they do. First knob is this one right here. This is for your light. This is a lighted display. You have a low light over here and a highlight there. So low light here, highlight there. We're going to leave this out for a little bit. This is discrimination. This is your sensitivity. You turn it on here. And I usually turn it up to about right here to do parks and stuff like that. If I'm doing sand or really need to get deep, I'll turn it all the way over to here, maximum. Then see this red? If you're really wanting to go deep, you can put it into the red. But sometimes it'll get too touchy and it'll start cackling on you and making a lot of false noise. So you just tune it down till it's a little quiet. The threshold, what you do is you put it in the all metal mode, turn your threshold up till it sounds nice and comfortable in your ear. Now I don't like hunting in the all metal mode with the low threshold. I put mine over here into discriminate mode. That way it's nice and quiet. The only time you hear noise is when something's under the coil. This knob here is what they call ground balance. Now, what's interesting about your Cortes is the ground balance only works in the all-metal mode. Now, I don't usually set mine, but if you move this, there's no tension on it. So what you do is you turn it until you feel a little bit of tension. Now it's dragging. Then when I put it right there in the center, come back 1, 2 turns, and I leave it there because when you're in the discriminate mode, it's already preset and you don't have to worry about it. So that only needs to be ground balanced for when you're in the all metal mode. Now if you find a coin in the discriminate mode and you can't find it in the all metal mode, move your detector off to the side and ground balance it the way it tells you to ground balance it in your manual. This we've talked about a little bit. If you push it over here, you're in the all metal mode. If you push it over here, you're in the discriminate mode, which is straight up. Now this is something really interesting. It's called the sum mode. Now this is trigger held. You have to hold it there. If not, it'll pop back. The way a detector works is when you hit something under the coil, it gives you a reading, say 95. But if you run it again next time, it might give you a different reading. What the sum does is it takes whatever's under there and balances that out. Let me kind of explain. Say you have it over here in the sum mode and you move it and you get a 30 on your display. The next time you move it, say it went to 40, what the sum mode does is it puts it in the middle. So as you go over it 2 or 3 or 4 times, it actually narrows it down to exactly what's underneath your coil. Really neat, because you don't really dig hardly any trash if you do that. Now what's also nice about the sum mode is you have different tones. It has about 6 or 7 different tones, I guess, when you have it in the sum mode. When you hit a coin that's over here in your silver range, you'll get a real high beep. When it's say it was down over here, you almost get a grunt if it's down in iron, and then the sounds go from grunt all the way up to a real nice high-pitched tone. So it also, if it's reading up kind of high and you put it in the sum mode and you get a low grunt, it's not a good target. If it's a good target, it'll sound nice. Also, if you ever get a target, no matter where it's at, if it keeps repeating and it's very sharp, bing, 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 boy, you dig that, because that probably could be gold or something that you're not going to get. Okay, so let's talk about discriminate. We have two different ways to discriminate in this machine. This one here starts down here at minimum, which means it really has no discrimination. Anything that's under that coil, you're going to read it. So then if you move it on up to here, if you're hunting relics, you want to make sure you're in the iron mode, and you can read iron. So you want to make sure that this is below the iron mode. So now you're going to pick up your relics. If you don't want iron, you move it past iron, then it's foil. Now what's kind of interesting is this machine, if you put it right about here, just a little past foil, most of the wrappers and stuff like that that you'll get from candy wrappers and stuff like that, and pieces of aluminum foil, it usually won't read. But if there's a gold ring in there, it'll read that gold ring. So this is where I normally set my detector when I'm hunting, just above the foil and before your nickel. Now what's really interesting about your Tesoros is they work their discrimination completely different than most others. Most machines, you can't tell the difference between a nickel and your pull tab. But the Tesoros, really, you can actually go out here and you can discriminate out that nickel. Now you say, why would I want to discriminate out a nickel and keep a full pull tab? Well, say you get a number that's around 33, 34, 35, and it could be a pull tab, could be a nickel. If you move this up to the other side of the nickel and it's gone, it's a nickel. But if you still hear it, it's a pull tab. Now what Tesoro has done is they have put a lot of space between your nickel, your pull tab, and most of your others down in here. So what you're going to do is you're going to have more of a space in the lower parts so you can discriminate the difference between a nickel and a pull tab. Like you go to a White's, if you're using like an MXT and it says 20, that could be a pull tab and it could be a nickel. This way you can actually determine what's underneath that because it's spread out here. Now the disadvantage to that is when you get way up into here, you get a 95. 95 could be a $50. It could be a quarter. It could be a silver dollar. It could be a dime. Or it could even be a copper penny. So when you get a 95 on your reading, it can be from a copper penny all the way up. It's usually a good target. Now this discriminator, as you keep turning it up, let's say you don't want to do nickels. Now you pass nickel. Now you don't want to do pull tabs. Now you're past pull tabs. You put it over here, you're going to get copper pennies, regular pennies, and all your clad coins or silver coins from there on up. Another nice thing about Tesoro, if you turn your discriminator all the way to maximum, you're still going to find your quarters and your dimes. Nickels, pennies will be gone, zinc pennies, regular pennies will be gone, pull tabs, everything. Most of the things you're only going to get here are dimes and quarters, 50 cents, and dollars. Now sometimes you'll get a penny because some of the real good copper pennies will ring up there. Okay, so this is one discriminator. I usually set it over here for foil, and that's where I hunt most of the time. Now this machine is really kind of interesting because as you look at it, you can see that it goes all the way from way down here where it says iron, all the way up here to where it says 50-cent piece and on up. What this notch does, okay, this notch, this one as you turn it up, everything below it is gone. But with this notch discriminator, if you put it over here to narrow, you still get from wherever this is up to your nickel. And then from your nickel to your zinc pennies is blocked out. So all the little pieces of metal and all the pull tabs and all that stuff, they're gone. Now if you push it over into the wide deal, and you still keep it here, you can read your gold up to your nickel, but from your nickel all the way up to your regular penny, your copper pennies, are gone. You will not read zinc pennies, you won't read pull tabs, anything. Now I have to warn you, some gold rings are between your nickel and your zinc penny. So when you put this over here, you're going to eliminate all the gold rings that are there. If you move it over to here, you're going to pick up a few of the bigger gold rings here, but you're going to miss a few there. But if you put this discriminator over here on foil, your small gold rings, all the way up to the pull tab, you'll find them. So that's what all the knobs on the face of your thing does. Okay, when you turn your machine on, first thing you look at is over here. It'll tell you your battery level. It's just like a fuel tank. If your batteries are brand new, it'll be up high, and as you use it, it'll get lower and lower and lower. You also have an ID number here, so depending on what's underneath your coil, it'll give you a number. So let's say we found a nickel. First thing is over here where it says nickel, you're going to get a big bar. If you don't get a great big bar, it could be that it's not a nickel, it's something else. It could be foil. Then you get a 33. 33 is about where your nickel is going to read. It could be 32, 31, 35, but that's where your nickel is going to ring in at. If you get something above a 33 or a 35, something around 36 or so, it's more than likely going to be a pull tab. It could be a ring, and it could be your nickel. So 36 is right here, the first one past the nickel. So now, when you have it on low, discriminate. If you use the toggle switch and you put it on low, you're going to eliminate this one here, and you're going to eliminate this square here. When you run your coil over something and it shows 61, it could be a nickel, it could be a ring, it could be a pull tab. But see, you get a nice big square block here. That means it's reading it accurately. So that's 61. It's probably going to be right in this area. It could be a ring, and it could be a pull tab. And of course, it'll tell you the depth right here. Now if you get a hit that says 75, you're in the zinc penny zone right here. So you're going to find a zinc penny. Now if you are on the low discriminate on the toggle switch, you're going to eliminate this, and it will read that. But if you switch it to the wide instead of the narrow, it'll actually take out this zinc penny as well. Now if you hit an 80, it's probably going to be right here in your copper pennies area. But anything above that is going to be in the 95 zone. Now it's kind of interesting because your dimes, everything are going to be right in this area here. So if you get a 95, it could be a copper penny, it could be a dime, it could be a quarter, it could be almost anything in this area here. So anytime you get a 95 and that block is big, boy, you dig it, because that's probably a really nice coin. So I hope that kind of explains a little bit about what you're going to read and what you're going to find when you get something. And remember, this is how deep your coin is. This is how accurate it's reading it. This is your battery level. And this number here tells you what it thinks is underneath that coil. And remember, it's a machine. It's doing its best it can. Now if you flip it over into your sum mode with the little toggle switch, these actually become more accurate. Whatever it's telling you here is more accurate. But a lot of us are in a hurry, so when we hit something here and we look down and it says, oh, quarter, we just say okay and start digging. So have fun. This is a fantastic machine. Just turn it on and go. But remember, with this machine, no matter what number you get or what it says there, if it's nice and sharp when it goes bing, 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 boy, you dig it. It's probably gold or a really good target. So if it finds it and it repeats nice and clear, be sure and dig it. So happy hunting, guys. You'll love this machine. It's the top of the line of Tesoros, and they've done an excellent job with it. So get one and have a lot of fun playing with it. Thanks a lot.